A minimalist game about building and defending your little kingdom. That's what Thronefall claims to be, and indeed what fits the bill. Today we'll take a look over the game and if it's right for you. Full disclosure, there's no price tag given on this little gem at the time of this review, and I'll address it at the end of the video. And with that out of the way, just what is Thronefall? Yeah, it's basic, but not really. Thronefall's minimalist art style, user interface, and mechanics lend to this idea of being basic, and I don't mean that in a bad way. Where so many strategy games and even tower defense games trend to overload you with information, Thronefall keeps it, well, minimal. Down and dirty, there are 2 daily cycles. During the day, you'll use funds provided to upgrade various aspects of your settlement, broken down into economic and military. Economically, you'll want to build houses, farms, mines, and even boat docks to generate income, which will be necessary to fund said expansion in your kingdom, or in this case, the current map you're playing on. On the military side, you need towers, walls, ranged and melee troops to protect your economic buildings, prevent your castle from being destroyed. Protection from what exactly? Well, once you're done spending your gold and expanding your kingdom, it's time to bring on the night, where it is dark and full of terrors. Nighttime brings in waves of enemies, and these enemies vary depending on whichever one of the current 4 maps you're playing on. You might encounter archers, different types of soldiers, flying monsters, monsters on the ground that try to seek you out personally, giant swordsmen, cavalry, siege engines, and even something that I 100% will not spoil you with because, well, it's worth finding out yourself. You can upgrade your castle to unlock further upgrades to buildings and the number of troops, with a selection of upgrades for yourself, as you will do a great deal of fighting on your own. After all, no king is a real king if he's not on the front lines. No map is quite the same, and you'll definitely need to change up your strategy and how you approach everything. Focus on farms to quick build an economy, or slow and steady build up some houses, or decide what troops to deploy, be it longbowmen or crossbowmen, spearmen or knights or berserkers. Do I focus on walls over towers? Can I rely on my own men while I go fight in a different area? These are somewhat basic decisions to make, considering that there are very, very few stats to pull from, really only health to consider. No doubt there will develop some form of a metagame, and I can see some form of that occurring when you factor in the variables: weapons, perks, mutators, and quests. This game would be an incredibly short and rather boring one if it weren't for these variables. As the king, you're allowed a range of weapons to choose from, each with their own distinct advantages and a form of ultimate with a cooldown. All of them are pretty darn fun, and you'll find yourself using all 3 in reaction to the map that you're playing on. Perks are the largest and most diverse piece to this game. Perks are exactly as they sound, advantages to help you conquer wave after wave of enemies. These range from strengthening buildings and walls to personal regeneration or quick reanimation should you die, economical increases, or making your soldiers much hardier. Using perks does not affect your base score negatively, although there are certain scenarios in which you'll want to use specific ones. We'll get to that shortly. The counter to perks are mutators, and these are real sticklers overall. Mutators, like perks, are exactly as they sound. They mutate your enemies to make them more difficult. You can cause enemies to have significantly more health, make them move faster, cause them to drop less gold, or deal more damage. The benefit of mutators are a percentage increase to your score should you win and survive 13 waves of troops. These mutators are hefty, and you'll find yourself saying, well, not so polite things as they shred your troops apart like they were minimalist pieces of origami. You'll want to mix and match certain weapons, perks, and mutators to fulfill quests, and this is the completionist aspect to the game. What propels this game from a maybe 2 to 3 hour gentle tower defense strategy game to an unknown number of hours should you want to accomplish it at all. These quests do range in difficulty, and I was quickly able to accomplish on average, 3 to 5 of the 6 quests within a few rounds on a single map. There's always one friggin' quest though on every map that has me stumped, and I think it's a combination of needing to get good, not having all of my perks unlocked, and the necessity to grind my way through the long game. Which is a not so subtle segue into the experience. The completionist nightmare, or is it? In Thronefall, you can unlock perks, new weapons, and mutators by simply playing the game. Regardless if your castle gets destroyed and you lose, you still gain that experience throughout, and this experience is what helps you unlock the aforementioned pieces to the tower defense puzzle. If you're interested in completing all the quests, you will have to experiment with combos to see what works best. And the fact of the matter is, you might not be able to finish that last quest until you played for several hours, either failing non-stop or repeatedly playing non-quest combinations to level you up quicker. I'm of two thoughts about this system. On the one hand, it's always exciting to get to unlock new things, thus encouraging me to play round after round of the same level. On the other hand, I strongly dislike most MMORPGs because of that grind just to unlock one piece of equipment or gain one perk that may give me the slightest bit ahead. While it bugs me that I'm 5 out of 6 quests in 2 of the levels, after losing a total of 9 times across those 2 levels just to try and nab that final quest, I just can't bring myself around to grinding my way to the top and getting that 100%. I've got a family, I got jobs, and well, I need sleep. So let's get down to it. Is Thronefall worth it? For what it's worth, I really enjoyed its minimalist style quite a bit. Limiting the amount of information I need to see in order to make a decision is a nice, relaxing break from other strategy games. The waves of enemies are unique enough, definitely challenging enough to remove any form of relaxation I experienced during the day cycle, but it's still fun. You have a great deal of variety in decision making, where even though I can see optimal builds, I can choose not to follow those for the most part. Currently in the game, there are 4 maps, one of them a tutorial, so really only 3 maps with 6 quests each. If I did a casual speedrun, I think I could probably quote unquote win each map in about 2 hours, maybe a wee bit less if I was pushing really hard. That's not a positive or negative, it's merely helping you, the consumer, understand the scope of the game at its base. These are all generally positive things though. It's really only the completionist grind aspect that I dislike in what I played. The caveat is that I was not given a price for this early access title. And considering the actual meat of the game and its, yes, simplicity, the ability to win all maps in a short amount of time, I'd pay $10 right now and be satisfied with that purchase. Maybe really like $8.99 if we want to get that exact typical Steam range. Anything over $10, I don't think I'd pull that trigger in this early access state. Now, there is a hesitancy you may or may not be picking up on. I think Thronefall has done a superb job catering to 2 audiences. The casual who wants to dip into a fun-looking strategy tower defense game for a little while, and that dude who will play level 3 for 7 hours straight to find that optimal build and finish that last objective. I'm neither, and while I enjoyed it, it didn't leave me with a great deal of satisfaction the longer I played. In 6 hours, I only have 4 quests left, and I just can't see myself coming back to it to grind my way through. That's the strongest factor in my lower price point feature. I got my fun out of it, but the replayability doesn't appeal to me quite as much as I had hoped. And that's perhaps because I do enjoy those harder, more in-depth strategy games. This isn't a diss to the game, more this lifelong strategy player, myself, needing more to a game than what Thronefall has to offer. Thronefall may be the most accurately described game on Steam, a minimalist game about building and defending your little kingdom. Whether or not you're the person to which that appeals to is of course up to you. I would love to know if that is you or not, so be sure to leave a comment in the comment section below. Thank you very much for watching. Check out the channel for videos focused on other strategy games. This is Havoc, and I'll see you in the next one.